Oops. Hello, class. This is my presentation on ageocentricity in communication studies. I look at Yoshitaka Miike's work. Who is Yoshitaka Miike? Yoshitaka Miike is a communication theorist who has a master's in communication studies and a PhD in intercultural communication. He's also currently a professor of intercultural communication at the University of Hawaii. He is best known as the founding theorist of ageocentricity. What is ageocentricity? So ageocentricity, as Miike defines it, is the intentional practice of centering Asian ideas and ideals in communication theory, treating Asians as agents and subjects, not just objects of study, right? And ageocentricity has the 6 dimensions of ageocentricity, which are the frameworks for using it, and the meta-theoretical alternatives to Eurocentrism, which I will talk about. So starting with the 6 dimensions of ageocentricity, one, Asians as active subjects and agents. This means that Asians aren't just background characters in history. They made choices and taken actions in shaping their own lives and cultures. So they're not just objects of study. 2, centering collective and humanistic Asian interests. So this means instead of focusing on just one person, we would focus on what's good for the whole community and focus on treating people with care and respect. 3, prioritizing Asian cultural value in inquiry. So this means whenever we're doing research or studying Asians, we should use the values that come from Asian cultures and not just Western ones when performing those studies or research. 4, rooting theory in historical Asian experiences. This just means theories that we create should be based on what actually happened in Asian history, and not just what Western history might say about what happened in Asian history, right? 5, theorizing from Asian epistemologies. So epistemology just means that it's the way people understand things. So this would mean just using Asian ways of thinking and not just Western ways. 6, offering an Asian ethical critique of displacement and marginalization. So this final point is about speaking up when Asian people are left out or prejudiced, and doing it in a way that reflects Asian values of fairness and ethics. Now on to meta-theoretical alternatives to Eurocentrism. So the meta-theoretical alternatives to Eurocentrism is about challenging the idea that Western or European ways of thinking are the default way to see the world. So 1, rejecting Eurocentric universalism. This just means Western ideas don't always apply to everyone. This is saying that other cultures have their own ways that work for them, and we need to respect that. 2, expanding geographically to include Asian epistemes. And it just, epistemes means a way of knowing. So this means to include Asian ways of thinking when we try to understand stuff. Very similar to that one rule in the 6 dimensions. 3, encouraging Asia diaspora comparisons. This is about comparing people in Asia with Asian people living in other countries to see both differences and similarities. 4, historicizing theory rather than presentism. This means instead of only looking at what's happening now, this says we should look at history to understand how we got here, right? So 5, emphasizing Asian ethical reflection over Western individualism. So this is talking about how Western culture often focuses on the individual. And this idea says that Asian values, like thinking about others and the community, and should be a part of how we judge ethical dilemmas and situations, right and wrong. So Yoshitaka Nikkei's Asia centricity and us. So Asia centricity is about honoring and centering Asian perspectives, values, and histories, especially in how we communicate and through communication studies. But that doesn't mean it's just for people who perform research in communication studies. It also matters in our daily lives through conversations, workplaces, classrooms, and pretty much any social setting. Um, so, for example, when we listen to people from different cultural backgrounds, Asia centricity can remind us not to judge everyone through our typical Western lens that we have grown to use, and we can use Asia centricity as a completely separate lens in our daily lives. Here's my works. That is the end of my presentation. Here's my works cited page. The academic papers included in this presentation are Theorizing Culture and Communication in the Asian Context and An Anatomy of Eurocentrism in Communication Scholarship, the Role of Asia Centricity in De-Westernizing Theory and Research. Both of those were written by Yoshitaka Nikkei. Thank you.